Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om
Om
Namo Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Vasudevaya.
Narayana Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Maya Mudhiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Mad eka bando mad sangin mad guru man mahadhana man nistharaka mad bhagya mad ananda namostute. So Srimad Bhagavatam is considered very glorious. He said, Mad eka bando. Bhagavatam is the only friend. Why it is called as friend? Because it is very friend in a very appealing way, trying to help us by showing our own strengths and weaknesses uh, through different characters of Srimad Bhagavatam. Mat Eka Bandhu and Mat Sangin is only companion. It is mentioned that in our life we need to get a very important companion so that we can go ahead in our life very enthusiastic. And that companion is Srimad Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam should be dead like a companion, especially those who are wanted to live a life of celibacy. They should get married to Bhagavatam. Married to Bhagavatam means they always carry the Bhagavatam with them. The instructions, the stories, the principles, and they start relishing the Bhagavatam from that perspective. That's crucial. Mad Guru, Man Mahadana. Mad Guru means he is the spiritual guide. It guides, is a teacher, is teaching many lessons. And Mad Mahadana. Mahadana. See, generally we are captivated by having the wealth. That's how we see the moment you have a certain wealth, you feel like a controller and an enjoyer. So here Bhagavatam, when one starts relating with Bhagavatam as a companion, as a friend, as a teacher, he gains a lot of wisdom. Lot of wisdom. Wisdom means realizations. And these realizations act like a wealth, spiritual wealth. And this wealth will help a person to find that confidence while living in this material world. Therefore, it's called Man Mahadanaha. Man Nistaraka. He said that only Nistaraka. Nistaraka means the deliverer, the one who delivers from us from this material world. This money could be exchanged and we can go out of this material world. The modern wealth which we earn, that cannot take you out of this world. But this wealth of Bhagavatam, with this you can purchase a ticket to back to Godhead. This wealth of Bhagavatam, the realizations which you gain by studying Bhagavatam, with that realization, what you can do? One Mahadana, with that Dhana must Nistaraka. You can get out of this metal world. Very interesting, no? So any other wealth cannot help you. Only this wealth will help you. So we are working 6 days in a week to earn the material wealth, which anyway will not come to your use for your use. It may come to use of your entire family and children and everyone else. That's natural. But for your use, it will not come at the greatest time of your crisis of your life. That time you have to just go like that only. At that time, which wealth will help? This particular wealth of Bhagavatam. The realizations which you gain, the realizations which you hear and share among the Vaishnava Sangha, that will only help us to cross this metal world. Mas nistaraka mad bhagya. He said, this is my good fortune. Why it is called good fortune? Through Bhagavatam, like last time we were mentioning, Bhagavatam is a combination of all the incarnations. Is a combination of all the incarnations. You can say all incarnations are appearing in Bhagavatam. Or taking again, they are appearing in Bhagavatam. In this way, Bhagavatam is a combination of all the avatars. And not only that, Bhagavatam is also a place or a temple where all pure devotees are staying together and exhibiting their qualities and pastimes. So, Mad Bhagya, it's our great fortune that you are having that temple within your own house in the form of the book Bhagavatam. So when we associate with this Bhagavatam, we are actually associating with all those pure devotees. Associating pure devotees means you are seeing their examples. You are seeing their lives. You are seeing their teachings. So by this, what fortune you are receiving? Mad Bhagya. And Mad Anando Namostute. And he says that by relishing regularly, so I am feeling a great joy in life heart. And that's what he says. Mad Eka Bando Mad Sangin Mad Guru Man Mahadana Mad Nistaraka Mad Bhagya Mad Ananda Namostute. This is how the Bhagavatam should be glorified. So we see in the introduction of Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada gives three aspects which are again repeated. You can say, which are again re-emphasized in the first three verses of first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The three aspects which Srila Prabhupada highlights is the definition of the absolute truth. As Kamaraji Prabhu was mentioning in the beginning, the definition of absolute truth, Abhigna Swarat, how is a controller, is a supreme controller, and how is cognizant of everything. And people want to know everything, but he is the one who knows everything, and by knowing him, you know everything. Getting? So our endeavor should not to know everything, but to know about the person who knows everything. So Bhagavatam highlights on the definition of the absolute truth so that one is focused and prepared to go ahead in searching for that person while reading Bhagavatam. And interestingly, from the beginning, first canto onwards, you see that eagerness of sages, eagerness of Parikshit to know about the absolute truth. And that ultimate thing comes in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this knowing about the absolute truth is very, very crucial. The second aspect is, while referring to Bhagavatam in the introduction part, which Srila explains, is the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. See, glories of Srimad Bhagavatam is you come to know by knowing about the people who are, how glorious those people who are discussing about Bhagavatam. See, if any subject matter is being discussed by very important people, then that subject matter must be very important. So that is how the glories of Bhagavatam is being. Nigama kalpa taror galita phala mukha amrita sukham. Sukham mukhad amritam. So it is coming from the mouth of Sukadeva Goswami. These are our great personalities. And not only that, Lord Shiva and Parvati are discussing about it. And not only that, Srila Prabhupada explains this, that Bhagavatam and Bhagavan, when Bhagavan in person Bhagavan in the form of a book is Bhagavatam. And Bhagavatam in form of a person is Bhagavan. And these two are, simultaneously can be observed in the person who is the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hmm. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the person in which you will observe him as the Bhagavatam in form of person, as the Bhagavan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we see him also that as a book Bhagavatam. He has spent maximum of his time in Vaishnava Sangha, where he is to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Acharya, just in the Varanagar, in nearby Kolkata, is a very holy place, Varanagar, where is one particular Vaishnava who is to recite Bhagavatam, and seeing him reciting Bhagavatam very beautifully and explaining the details, Mahaprabhu is to go in ecstasy and dance. And by seeing that dance, that Vaishnava is to further read, and he was given the title Bhagavad Acharya. So we see the glories of a book by seeing how glorious the people who are discussing on that or practicing that Bhagavatam in their life. And that's how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's identity is brought in the introduction part of Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavatam first canto. There, this particular thing is. And the third thing, which is that relishing Bhagavatam. See, when you know how glorious this book Bhagavatam, the third aspect which is required for a person is to relish it. Pibata Bhagavatam. One has to start relishing the Bhagavatam personally. And that relishment is considered a very important activity, just like you're taking food every day and nourishing yourself, is it not? Same way, when you're reading Bhagavatam, you should relish it. Relish means you like it. It's not just a, what do you call, it's not about a knowledge sharing, okay? It's about relishing Bhagavatam. So we will read that introduction part again here to re-emphasize on these three aspects, which are again repeated in the first three verses of first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So I will just open the introduction part here. Yeah. The conception of the God and conception of absolute truth are not on the same level. The Srimad Bhagavatam hits on the target of the absolute truth. The conception of God indicates controller, whereas the conception of absolute truth indicates the summum bonum, the ultimate source of all energy. The absolute truth definition is being emphasized here. Okay, there is no difference of opinion about the personal feature of God, the controller, because a controller cannot be impersonal. Of course, modern God, especially democratic government, is impersonal to some extent, but ultimately the chief executive head is a person. So Prabhupada explaining the conception of the God. God means what people generally focus is. God means generator, operator, and destroyer, is the controller. But the absolute truth has a more further detailed definition that has to be understood. Who is the source of all energies? So, and when it comes to the God, there are many gods, but absolute truth can only be one. That's what Prabhupada is explaining. Because there are different controllers for different managerial position, there may be many small gods. According to Bhagavad Gita, any controller who has some specific extraordinary power is called Vibhuti Sattva, or controller empowered by the Lord. You can also be God for your house. That is possible. Like that, there could be many gods who are specific to specific powers they have in a specific field. But the absolute truth is one without a second. Absolute truth can never be two people. It can be one without a second. This Srimad Bhagavatam designates the absolute truth, the summum bonum, the param satyam. Therefore, this param satya, dhimai, this particular thing comes in the verse number 1 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so that's how Prabhupada is started this introduction. The author of Srimad Bhagavatam, Vyasadev, first offers his respectful obeisances to Param Satya. Because he is the ultimate source of all energies, the Param Satyam is a person. एनर्जी के पीछे शक्ति के पीछे शक्तिमान होना चाहिए. Because this absolute truth is source of all energies, he must be a person. And because he is the source of all energies, he is the supreme person. That's how it is mentioning here. Then we see here the supreme person or Parameshwara is the supreme conscious personality. And because he does not derive any power from any other source, he is supremely independent. Abhigna and Swaraj. These two aspects are being focused. Anyway, these two are also will further when we are reading the first 3 verses. Okay. Sometimes devotees, when they read, especially the first 3 verses of Srimad, very difficult to understand. But if you try to analyze it in proper way, you will really relish it. It's very, very interesting. The absolute personality of Godhead is a person, and because he's a person, don't think he is not. Because he's a supreme person, you cannot think that he is not conscious of all the things. He is conscious of everything. Like we are conscious of our body, and that also very limitedly. We don't know everything what is happening within our body. To some extent, we are conscious. And when you stay in a home, you are conscious of certain things which are happening, and certain people with what things are happening with them. But you will not be conscious of everything else. He is conscious, and he is conscious of everything and all his powers. And therefore, he is independent. He doesn't take help of anyone else than his own energies. His source is himself only. Therefore, he is Swarat, independent. But for us to be a boss at a house also, to be God, somebody has to agree for it. If nobody agrees at home, you cannot be God. You cannot be, and then you're fully dependent on fulfilling the desires. If they don't fulfill the desires, then you cannot be in that particular role. You cannot get the power. So this is very interesting aspect. Therefore, Prabhupada, in the first two paragraphs, in fact, he continues also later, the 3rd paragraph. The word Janmadyasya suggests that the source of all production, maintenance, and destruction is the same supreme conscious person. Even in our present experience, we can know that nothing is generated from inert matter, but inert matter can be generated from living entity. For instance, that we know that life comes from life. It doesn't come from chemicals. So man with poor fund of knowledge mistake the bodily machinery to be living entity. But the fact is living being is the basis of bodily machine. The bodily machine is useless as soon as this living spark is away from it. Similarly, the original source of all material energy is the supreme person, the living being, the supreme being. So this supreme being is being addressed here. So, and this supreme being is the source of all the spiritual and material energies. So that's how the introductory part, first 3 paragraphs speak about the definition of absolute truth in a very detailed way. And when Bhagavatam starts with this introduction of defining absolute truth in many terminologies, in the further cantos, you see these terminologies are explained in form of examples and glory and very detailed description of the Lord. How he is cognizant of everything. Gajendra Moksha story, is it not? Gajendra Moksha story, when Gajendra was lifting his trunk, calling for the absolute truth to come, That time, hearing that prayers, Dwaraka mein jo baithe, Krishna was sitting in Dwaraka. He became completely aware of it. He came. And he's called as Swarad. The same story will tell. He was not depending on the Garuda to reach to that place. Even though Garuda was his companion, eternal companion. He's independent. Independently he could execute what you call, he could ensure that his will is being executed. He's independent. He doesn't depend on anyone else. He's fully satisfied. Atmaram. Swarad. Because he's fully satisfied in himself, nobody is required for him else to be joyful or to be peaceful. That is natural for him. So independent. In that way, Srimad Bhagavatam, through examples, I mean, understanding, through many, many wonderful stories and things, this definition is being further, further expanded. So therefore, when we are referring to the first three verses, we should know in detail what are the terminologies being used and try to relate these terminologies in the further study of Bhagavatam. You getting? The certain terminologies are being used. Okay, now let me relate this particular terminology to this. Swarat. Tena Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. He has spoken this knowledge in the heart of Brahma. There's an entire elaborate chapter where Brahma is speaking to Narada about how Krishna revealed him that knowledge. So this is how the Bhagavatam starts with the definition of absolute truth, and it goes to the second section. What is the second section? Is the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. And in explaining the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada writes that in the modern Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preached Srimad Bhagavatam, a practical demonstration. So glories of a Bhagavatam can be understood by knowing about the glorious people who are speaking about Bhagavatam. Therefore, here it is easier to penetrate into topics of Srimad Bhagavatam through the medium of Sri Chaitanya's causeless mercy. Therefore, a short sketch of his life and experience are inserted herein to help the reader understand the real merit of Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam को सही जगह समझना है तो भागवतों की, the person, पुरुष भागवत पुरुषों की जीवन शैली को समझना बहुत जरूरी है. जब भगवत पुरुषों की जो जीवन शैली समझेंगे, किस प्रकार वो भागवत अपनाया है, तो भागवत गुणगान हो रहे हैं. It is imperative that one learns Srimad Bhagavatam from the person Bhagavatam. So here the person Bhagavatam and the Bhagavan, who are they? That is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a combination of both. He is Bhagavan, he is Lord himself, and also a person Bhagavatam. He has applied Bhagavatam in his life. And that's what inspires us to read Bhagavatam, because we have people exemplary. We have examples in front. We have very exemplary personalities in front who have applied Bhagavatam. And that one of the, therefore, it's important to know the life and sketch of Srimad Bhagavatam of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to understand Bhagavatam. So therefore, the introduction part, this particular section is given a short sketch of life and teachings of Lord Chaitanya, the preacher of Srimad Bhagavatam. So all of you know that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during his Annaprasana, he was kept in front of him. There were many items were kept. So Nimai was crawling, and he went and holded Srimad Bhagavatam. He holded Srimad Bhagavatam and declaring to everyone that I have come for the purpose of preaching, relishing the Srimad Bhagavatam and preaching Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, the third aspect, which is we're focused here in the introduction part, is how it's important to relish Bhagavatam than just understanding Bhagavatam. Okay, Bhagavatam is like, okay, these are the sections which are explained. Rather than doing analysis, rather than doing only analysis, one should focus on relishing Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, So this is my sincere request to all those seekers of absolute truth. The seekers of absolute truth should first focus on relishing Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of the devotees by reading it, by learning it, by discussing about it. Therefore, five aspects are very crucial. Uh, in on our life, there are five S. The five S. First is sadhana. Okay, I'll stop the share. Yeah. First is the sadhana. Sadhana means how regulated you are in your regular practices. There are certain regular spiritual practice we should. Like I remember from childhood when I used to see my parents, or most of you might have seen Vedic culture, people get up at a particular time. They get ready and they offer certain puja for a specific time. That's the sadhana. And you see many people who are practicing arts or music, they also do a certain sadhana. For a spiritual seeker of absolute truth, they should do the sadhana morning program. We should all have, irrespective whether you stay in a temple or in a home, in a grihastha ashram, we should all have a morning program. This is first sadhana aspect, which has to be focused. Where we have morning program, where we do chant Hare Krishna, 16 rounds. We do attend Mangalarati. We attend the Narshingati, Guru Puja, like that. So some may of you ask Prabhu how we can do that in our house. Because we get up at, we have many duties to perform. So you fix a particular time where you all can come together, or at least you individually, and fix an half an hour. In that half an hour, you do the Mangalarati, Narshingati, Guru Puja, and all those aspects. This certain regular practice should be kept in front of your own altar at house. You do this at a regular, every day. This should be a daily aspect. The sadhana is a daily thing. Otherwise, if that practice is not there, we can't come to a platform where we can appreciate Bhagavatam and relish it. So morning program is very, very crucial. And the second S, there are five S. The second S is Swadhyaya, scriptural study. Like last time also I mentioned about this. This Swadhyaya contains five aspects. First is Shravanam. We hear, like all of your, I was telling all of you, okay, read this particular section. Come. That means you're hearing from Srila Prabhupada. And what we are doing here is Mananam. We are recollecting it. Kamaraj Bhu mentioned certain, he recollected certain aspects. And then we are also doing certain nididhyasa, contemplation. We are trying to relate it with our lives. Contemplation. So Shravanam, Mananam, and nididhyasa. Hearing, recollecting, and contemplating. These three should go regular basis. Hearing, recollecting, and contemplating. Contemplating on how this whatever learning you have gathered, how could you apply in the life, or how could you see in others' life, or how you explain to others this particular situation? Can you elaborate on that aspect? Like that, we have to see from different angles what we read. So that is the in the Swadhyaya, the third element. And there are two more elements which are very important. That is Pathanam and Kirtanam. And this Pathanam means what? Recitation. A regular recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam is total 18,000 verses. And these verses are either spoken by the Lord or his pure devotees. So each of them are glorious. Therefore, we certain important shloka should be recited. This is the Patanam should be. And the Kirtanam part is share. Okay, you will be asked, okay, share on this particular section of Srimad Bhagavatam. Read this the 10 verses of first canto, fourth chapter, and come prepared in the next time and speak on that. It's like sharing. In this way, what happens is you are getting absorbed. So these five elements comprises of Swadhyaya. Uh, uh, the Swadhyaya part contains all these five aspects. And the third S, which we required. The first, as we explained, was sadhana, daily, morning, regular practices as a spiritual seeker of absolute truth we should do. And the second is Swadhyaya, which comprises of five elements. And then the third one, which we are coming, is very important and crucial, is the Seva. The Seva turns your knowledge, the understanding into realization. And Seva gives an ample opportunity of the ground where you can appreciate every detail of Srimad Bhagavatam and see actually it coming in practices. It's happening in practices. So Seva is an opportunity where you can relate Bhagavatam very unto one. This point I was explaining in yesterday's Bhagavad Gita also. Seva is very crucial. Seva gives an opportunity. Seva doesn't take your, it is not a waste of time. Seva is not that your time is getting occupied and I'm not able to do anything. No. Seva is an opportunity where you could keep your service attitude intact. And that service attitude intact, the endeavor to keep your service attitude intact turns your knowledge into realization. That's a very amazing thing. And the fourth S, which is important in our life, is Sadachara. So naturally, when we deal with Seva, there will be Vaishnavas with whom we are dealing. There will be general people in the public whom we are dealing. Therefore, there your behavior is being kept in test. So, Sadachara, our behavior and dealings with others, that is kept into touch. Like when we started the Evolve group, we have three concepts: Sangha, Sadhana, and Sadachara. So the Sadachara is a very crucial thing. And depending on this Sadachara, your Sangha is formed. Getting? Depending on the way you deal with people, your Sangha is formed. In ISKCON, you are generally given a big Sangha, but that Sangha will actually become your Sangha when based on your Sadachara. If your Sadachara is in a specific way, you may develop a particular Sangha only, of a limited people who are also of the same character or behavior. Interesting, no? So it's crucial that we keep our Sangha, or you can Sadachara in a specific way, that we maintain a very good, strong Sangha. So in the Sangha, when we perform the sadhana, swadhyaya, and seva, you understanding? I'm concluding on these five things. First is, as I mentioned, sadhana, swadhyaya. Second is swadhyaya. Third is seva. And fourth is sadachara. And fifth is sangha. So how we combine them, how you understand all five of them together? In sangha, in the Vaishnava Sangha, when we do what things? Sadhana, swadhyaya, and seva. In the Sangha of the devotees, we should do these three things: sadhana, swadhyaya. Sadhana means regular practices. Swadhyaya means study, like all of you are coming online and trying to understand these principles. Get more devotees in the Sangha. Obviously, morning program, 7 o'clock. People may feel, अरे वो इतना जल्दी क्या उठ के क्या रहेंगे ना? अरे अभी नहीं उठेंगे तो कभी नहीं उठ पाएंगे लाइफ में. अभी उठना प्रैक्टिस नहीं करेंगे, जीवन में ऐसे सोते रहेंगे. हम तो जीवन तो सो ही रहे हैं. बहुत जन्मों से सो ही रहे हैं. And you see, it's just a matter of practice. Devotees are very much helped by Lord. If they express their sincerity, Lord is the Paramatma, without your alarm, you can get up. Lord is there in Paramatma. He is the main alarm for you. He will give indication before your alarm rings only. That sincerity is to be expressed. So we should make an endeavor of attending, in the Sangha Vaishnava this Vadhyaya. So in the Sangha, we should do these three things: Sangha, sadhana, and second is Swadhyaya, and third is Seva. So by doing in Sangha these three aspects, what happens? Your Sangha becomes intimate. However, you need to ensure this intimacy by Sadachar. If you don't ensure that intimacy through Sadachar, naturally by default in material world, being in material world, the Sangha is affected by the Kala. Kala. Kala means what? Kali. Kali ka two things are there, quarrel and hypocrisy. By some Kalaha, that Sangha gets disturbed. To ensure your intimacy in the Sangha, we should have a proper Sadachar. That's how the five things are related. Okay. So, so when we are meeting like this, now it's an opportunity where we could do all these five things. Your sadhana is taken, like I was mentioning, we may start this next after a few weeks or so. Next, every Saturday morning program will also be online. The temple, what morning program or Rajiv Pro will keep it in live. Mangalarti from 4:30 Mangalarti till 7 o'clock. Japa. We'll have it live. And I request at least make a point of weekly attending like that. If not, you are in temple. If you are at your homes, ensure this aspect. Just keep your mobile also in on the Zoom, connect to it, and then attend the morning program, which is happening here. So this is how we should ensure the aspect of sadhana. And Swadhyaya, like all of you will be given task to study. You study and then you come here, we're discussing about it, like that's Swadhyaya. Seva, the more you come in association, naturally there will be opportunity for rendering services. So some of you may not be available physically in any Vaishnava Sangha, but you can also do the seva by doing prachar. That is what I am repeatedly mentioning, that you can do seva of getting other people into bhakti. Very important seva, which will be very pleasing to Lord. At least endeavor करो, आप 20 लोग को हिसाब से टारगेट करेंगे, एटलीस्ट एक तो बनेगा भक्त, एंड एक बनेगा शुद्ध भक्त ना, आपकी लाइफ परफेक्ट होगा. We should be the endeavor which we should do. And the sadachar, when you're dealing with your home family people, family members, there also these principles will come in picture. How you are dealing. It's not that you should be only goody with devotees and you are dealing very bad with your family members or others who are apparently may not be devotees. It's not that. We should have a very proper dealings. In fact, I would request in that either in Bhagavatam sessions or Bhagavad Gita sessions, or we start another online platform where all your family members could be part, and we have some simple discussion on some Krishna online, where we share certain things. It could be weekly or monthly, something like that we could do, where all the other family members also sit. We can have it in a local language, in Hindi. In Hindi language we can have it, where the others can attend it. We take a simple topic, let them also attend, understand. And many times they are fearful or they are not liking what you are doing because they don't know only what you are doing. They don't know what actually is happening. So if they come in the Sangha, they may appreciate, they may understand it more and more. It's crucial that we bring them into picture. So we let us think about this aspect. In this way, sadachar, and then the Sangha. Sangha is taken care. So these five things are very, very crucial. That's how we should read the Bhagavatam and go ahead in our life. Okay. So I would like to conclude with one particular description which is given in the Padma Purana about how this Bhagavatam is Sakshat Bhagavan. And each and every canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is highlighting on the specific limb of the Lord. It is given in Padma Purana. The reference could be taken Any of you can take it this reference and share it on the screen, which we are having. It starts with Padav Yadihav. Padav Yadihav. Kamaraji Prabhu, if you can do it, that will be helpful for others. It comes in
Yes,
Bhagavatam how the 12 cantos are compared with the limbs of the Lord, different limbs of the Lord.
Prabhuji, text number?
There's no specific text number to it, but start like that. Padav Yadihav. Padav Yadihav. Pradama Dvitiyav. Tritiya Turyav. Katitav Yat Uru. You just type Bhagavatam compared to the Lord's body. Then you'll get a verse. Are you able to do it?
Searching.
Okay. So this comes in Srimad, this comes in Padma Purana. Very interesting verse. So and Prabhupada also mentioned while studying Bhagavatam, one should study Bhagavatam like taking darshan of deity. Many of you, when you go for taking darshan of deity, you directly don't see the face. First, you see from the feet, then you see their thigh, their knees, and then you see their thigh, and you see the Lord's abdomen with deep impression of the navel, and you go above and see the chest, and you see the beautiful hands of the Lord, and you see the smiling face of the Lord, and then you gradually go above and see this complete, complete face and the head. That's how the Bhagavatam goes in above. So once he shares the verse, we will recite together in this particular section. So how each limb, each canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is compared to the different limbs of the Lord. And we can actually try to relate it also like that. Literally, it doesn't mean like each limb is each canto is is limb, but not that first canto speaks only on the lotus feet of the Lord. Second canto speaks about that particular thing. Not like that. Bhagavatam speaks on various subject matter. This is the way we can relish Bhagavatam. You understanding? When you're reading first canto Bhagavatam, you actually are holding the lotus feet of the Lord. You're trying to better appreciate the lotus feet of the Lord by knowing the stories or knowing the lessons from the first canto. When you're reading the navel part is the canto, the creation part. It comes in fifth canto. Fifth canto, when you're reading and you're appreciating the navel of the Lord, abdomen of the Lord. Yeah. Kamaraj Prabhu, did you get it?
Yes, Prabhuji, I'm just sharing it.
Please share. You can share it, but that opportunity, multiple participants. So anyone has any question on what we're discussing today before he shares any one, and they can ask.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Shivana Mataji.
Prabhuji, can you just once again can you describe about sadhana, swadhyay, seva, sadachar, and sangha?
So in the beginning of the class, I was sharing the introduction part. I request all devotees to read the introduction part. In the introduction part, three aspects are mentioned. The three aspects are the definition of the absolute truth and how as a devotees we should be seeking that absolute truth in detail. When the concept of God is there, it is very obscured. They explain as the controller, but the definition of absolute truth, the concept of absolute truth is more elaborated in Srimad Bhagavatam. And the second aspect which is explained in the introduction part is how glorious the Srimad Bhagavatam book is, that you come to know by knowing how glorious the personalities who are discussing about Srimad Bhagavatam. That's how the Bhagavatam could be better glorified. You should know the glorious personalities who are involved in discussing about Bhagavatam. And the third aspect is relishing Bhagavatam. So in relishing Bhagavatam, it's crucial that we keep these 5S in practice. What is the first S? The first S is sadhana. That means every day you have a regular practice of chanting Hare Krishna, attending morning program with Mangalati, Nashingati, Tulsi Aarti, Guru Puja. Whatever is possible in a limited time, half an hour, 40 minutes, we should do every day the sadhana and do the chanting of 16 rounds. Other aspects of the sadhana should also be kept in practice. The second S is Swadhyaya. Hare Krishna, am I audible? Yeah. So second aspect is Swadhyaya. So Swadhyaya means what? Where we do the study, like what we are doing, all of that. In that there are 5 elements: Shravanam, Mananam, that is hearing, hearing, recollecting, and Nididhyasa, contemplating, and then Patan, reciting verses of Bhagavatam. And the 5th one is Prachar, Kirtanam, preaching. Preaching means you are sharing with others. So these 5 aspects come in the Swadhyaya. And the third S is Seva. The Seva, we have to make a point of taking some commitment, some responsibilities in form of preaching, in form of certain services to deities, certain services to Vaishnavas. Like that, we should take some certain services. That Seva will actually uplift us. And the fourth aspect, fourth S is Sadachara. How you deal with the people around, with the devotees around. And this Sadachar can make your Sangha very intimate. And the 5th S is Sangha. So in the Sangha of devotees, we do 3 things, that is Sadhana, Swadhyaya, and Seva. And this will make the Sangha very intimate. You become very intimate, very close to that Sangha. However, to ensure that Sangha to remain intimate, we have to be careful of our Swadhyaya, of our Sadachar. How we are behaving, how we are dealing with the Vaishnavas in that Sangha. This is how it has to be taken care of. So these 5 S will ensure that you can relish Bhagavatam very nicely. If you can't ensure these 5 S, your Bhagavatam study will remain at a theoretical or a knowledge part, and it won't turn into realizations. Okay? I hope this makes clear. So, Shivani?
Yes, Prabhuji, it is clear.
Yeah. So this is the Purana, this is the Padma Purana's Krishna's body, how Bhagavatam is compared to Krishna's body. So all of you can read this verse. You're able to see on the screen, na? Yeah. Please repeat after me. One devotee can unmute and then he can repeat after me for that easy. Okay. Padau yadi hau pradama dvitiyo. Hare Krishna, who will be repeating after me? Yeah, Rajiv Prabhu. Take care. Somebody else all can know, because Rajiv Prabhu is always sharing, always reciting. Anyone else?
Can I do it, Prabhuji?
Who? Acha, ठीक है, Shivani Maharaj, fine. Padau yadi hau pradama dvitiyo.
Pado yadiyo pratama dvitiyo.
Dvitiyat turyau katitau yad uru.
Tritiya turyo kathito yad uru.
Nabhistata panchama eva shashto.
Nabhistatha panchama eva shashto.
Bhujantaram dhor yugalam tatanyo.
भुजान्तरं दोर्युगलं तथान्यो
Kantastu rajan navamo yadiyo.
कण्ठस्तु राजन्नवमो यदीयो
Mukaravindam dashama prafullam.
मुखारविन्दं दशमं प्रफुल्लम्
Ekadasho yasya lalatapatam.
एकादशो यस्य ललाटपट्टम्
Shiropitu dvadasha eva bhati. Shiropito dvadasha eva bhati.
Shiro, Prabhuji, I cannot pronounce.
Okay, Shiropito
Shiro,
dvadasha eva bhati.
Shiro, screen.
Okay, just wait. Screen is Kamarash Babu?
There is some problem. I am just sharing.
Yeah.
Prabhuji's screen is not visible.
Yeah. It will come.
Is it visible? Bro?
Yeah, just wait. Actually, the verse is written in a combined form. It is not visible till now. Nothing is being shown. This recitation is very important. When more we recite it, more we relish it.
Prabhu, you can reshare it.
Yes, Prabhuji, edit points. Is it visible now, Prabhuji?
No, nothing. Till now, nothing.
Prabhuji, I will paste in chat, Prabhuji.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, please. Wait. So we read certain lines of this verse. I would like to speak on that. Padav yadi hau pratama dvitiyo. Pradama and Dvitiya, the first canto and the second canto, they are compared to what? Padav. The first and second cantos of Bhagavatam are Sri Krishna's lotus feet. So therefore, we should humbly start the reading of Bhagavatam from first canto and second canto. Just like we take darshan from the lotus feet, we should do the same way. Okay, this is very, very important that we do reading like that. Okay. Then he says, Tritiyav Turyav Katitav Yat Uru. The third and fourth canto, Tritiya and Turya, the fourth cantos, Aris Katitav Yat Uru. They are compared to the Uru, the thigh. The thighs of the Lord. See, Lord thighs are very beautiful. If you see Lord Naranarayan Rishi, when he was doing tapasya in the Himalayas, being disturbed by his tapasya, King Indra sent some apsaras to divert the meditation of Naranarayan Rishi. And that time Naranarayan Rishi, seeing this, with this mere endeavor of Indra to disturb, to disturb our personality, that means our Naranarayan Rishi, Lord felt very, he felt, he started laughing at the foolish endeavors of Indra to disturb to him, Lord himself. Then what Naranarayan Rishi did? From his own thighs, he created more beautiful apsaras. His own thighs he created more beautiful. Uru. Uru means thigh. From Uru came Urvasi. So Urvasi is considered one of the most beautiful apsara damsel in the heavenly planets. and she appeared from the thigh of Lord Narayana, Naranarayan, Urvasi, and Indra was gifted Urvasi. So Indra understood his mistake. I came and I was thinking that I will disturb Lord, and Lord has given me a gift. How foolish I was. The Lord, who is the source of all the beautiful things, all power, how could I captivate him by my endeavors? So that is what Tritiya Turya Katitau Yaturu. The third canto and fourth canto, where the beautiful pastimes of Dhruva and everything, this comes manifest here in this particular cantos are representing Lord thigh, thighs of Lord. So when we read the third canto and fourth canto, we can do this reflection. What is the reflection? You can start relating those pastimes, how so beautiful, and this beauty is coming from where? Lord thighs. That's how we should correlate it. Okay. And thigh is also a place where the certain aspects of the creation take place. So we see that type of things in the third canto and fourth canto. I think chat it is there. Please see the chat. Nabhistata panchama eva sastu. He said the fifth canto is the navel. Nabhistata panchama. The fifth canto is the navel. Fifth canto speaks about creation. Lord Vishnu, when he's lying in the Shesha, Ananta Shesh, on the bed of the Ananta Shesh, by being massaged by Lakshmi Devi, from his navel comes the lotus, and from the lotus Brahma appears, and Brahma creates all the things. So the creation canto, that is the fifth canto, is explained in the navel part, that is Nabi. And the sixth, Eva Sasto Bhujantaram, the sixth canto is the chest. The sixth canto is the chest of the Lord. And the sixth canto, we see there's many other beautiful pastimes are explained there. Okay, chest. And the seventh and eighth canto, Bhujantaram Dor Yugalam Tatanyo. The seventh and eighth cantos are his arms. Where arms are used? Arms are used for protection. So in the eighth canto, you see that section of Prithu Maharaj. These all will come in the seventh canto. How Lord Nrsimhadev protected Prahlad Maharaj. This comes. So these are compared to the arms of the Lord, the hands of the Lord. Bhujantaram Tor Yugalam Tatanyo. Kantastu Rajan Navamo Yadhiho. Explain that the ninth canto is his throat, the Kanta. Lord Ramachandra's Kanta is considered very beautiful. So it explained in the ninth canto. And the Kanta is also a place where many important teachings are given. The voice. So you can see in the ninth canto many important teachings are being explained. Mukara Vindam Dashama Prafullam. The 10th canto is compared with the beautiful face. So behind me, you see Lord Govindas. He's a very beautiful face. The beautiful face of the Lord is, or you can say the 10th canto is compared to the beautiful face of the Lord. Therefore, the most attractive canto in all that 12 cantos of Bhagavatam is the 10th canto, the Sammam Bhonam, where Krishna's pastimes are explained very elaborately, detailed. So many chapters are there in 10th canto. More than 81 chapters. It's one of the biggest canto in all that 12 cantos is the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And after that is explained, Ekadasho Yasya Lalata Pattam. The 11th canto is compared to the forehead of the Lord. 11th canto is compared to the forehead of the Lord. Where is instruction to the Uddhava. These all things are explained. And then Tamala, what is it? Yeah. Shiropitu Dwadasha Eva Bhati. here we recited, I think. Na? Shiropitu Dvadasha Eva. Shirotu matlab Shira, head. The head of the Lord is compared, or 12th canto is compared to the head. The final instructions or the final aspects which happen, the Lord explained in the 12th canto. Shirupi Dvadasha Eva Bhati. The 12th canto is head. And then he says, please repeat, Shivani Mataji after me. Tam Adidevam Karuna Nidanam.
Tam Adidenam Karuna Nidanam. Hello. Hare Krishna.
You are there?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Tamalavarnam Shuhitavataram.
Tamalavarnam Shutitavataram.
Apara Samsara Samudra Setum.
Apara Samsara Samudra Setum.
Bhajamahe Bhagavatat Swarupam.
Bhajam ehe Bhagavata Swarupam.
So this Padma Purana explains. He says, I bow down to this Lord who is ocean of mercy. Adidevam Karuna Nidanam. The ocean of mercy. Whose color, how his color is, what is his complexion, Lord? Tamala Varnam Shuhita Avataram. His color is like that of a Tamala tree. And he appears in this material world, Suhita Avataram. Suhita, Suhrida, for well-wishing of every living being, he appears in this material world. Don't consider him to be just a person who is, nothing to do. He has come to for his own enjoyment. Yes, he has come for his own enjoyment, and in his own enjoyment, we find our enjoyment. Krishna's enjoyment only we find our enjoyment. And that you can practically experience when you do these 5S in your life. Okay? When we do this 5S, you can practically experience that how Krishna's enjoyment, we find our enjoyment. But that need to be kept in practice. Otherwise, person may envy Krishna. By reading Bhagavatam, we say, Krishna is so much enjoying. Like we are reading 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam right now. Krishna is enjoying so much. He is having many marriages, many adventurous marriages he is having. Where ek bhi shaadi nahi ho raha hai, log may feel like that. And Krishna is having so many marriages, 16,108 marriages he is having. So that envy comes because a person is not relishing. Why is not relishing? Because he is not keeping in practice those 5S. If you keep in practice the 5S, that it becomes very easy for us to relish Bhagavatam and appreciate and keep ourselves humbled, keep humble in front of the Lord Krishna, and find great joy in finding him joyful. Tamadidevam Karunanidanam, the ocean of mercy, Tamala Varanam Suhitavataram. He has appeared in this material world to show his causeless mercy and wishing well for everyone. He appeared in the complexion of a Tamala tree, blackish. Apara Samsara Samudrastehum. He is acting like a bridge to cross us from this vast ocean of material existence. Apara Samsara Samudra Setum. Bhajamahe Bhagavata Swarupam. In what way he appeared? This bridge is Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam is compared to like a bridge. In this particular form, he has appeared to help us cross this ocean, which is very difficult to cross over. Even big ships like Titanic or even Titanic could not go for a long. But I'm saying even big ships cannot cross this material ocean and go beyond. And one ship that can help us to cross over, and that is Bhagavatam. And here Bhagavatam is also compared to a bridge. In a ship means there is a captain. So who is the captain for this Bhagavatam? He is the Sukadeva Goswami. And for us, Srila Prabhupada is the captain of this Bhagavatam. And his purports are the compass. They are giving us direction how to go ahead. So by taking shelter of this Bhagavatam, instructions and the life and teachings of the Lord and his pure devotees, we are actually can easily cross this metal ocean. They become like favorable bridges in the ocean for the ship to cross over. And the first two cantos are compared to the lotus feet. And another example is given here is bridge. He is compared to a bridge, setum, apara samsara samudra setum. No, we are taking the help of this bridge to cross over. And the bridge, you have to start from the beginning only. No? You cannot just jump. You can jump by taking help of the bridge. You cannot jump with the bridge. If you jump, you will drown in the ocean. If you want directly go to 10th canto, it's not possible to go from first canto. Our reading should be kept very intact. So I would like to conclude here. Any questions or any points which you would want to share? You ask question or any point you would like to share, you can please. What you liked from today's session, you can please share that. I'll stop the recording here.